voting and not voting also is complicated. People think that voting costs a lot of time, and other people think that not voting is just unfair to let other people vote for them or to let the government or those in power. So should people vote, and does voting matter? Everyone believes is an enemy, and in my opinion, I think that voting does matter. But there are also a few side effects of voting that I'm talking about today, and I'll talk about two reasons for why voting doesn't matter and that people should vote. So from my first point, I think that people shouldn't vote because voting takes a lot of time. Like, people should be doing other things, like they should be staying at home and taking care of their family instead of just going to a booth and adding in their vote. It can be left to the government because the government are people in charge and they know best. They know who is worthy of being president. The government and those in power are fair. They are fair. They don't cheat or they don't do anything wrong. So people can depend on the government to choose what to do, what is the right thing to do, or to choose who is worthy of this role or who is worthy of being president. So when people let the government decide for them, it doesn't mean that it is unfair or they're depending too much on the government. It just means they don't have enough time to vote, and that it means that they trust them, they trust the government, and that the government will always make fair decisions and choose the worthy candidate. Now, for my second point, I think that we shouldn't vote because voting is just boring and it costs a lot of time. So people think that voting is boring and that voting doesn't bring any good at all. So that is kind of true because it doesn't bring any good at all too, because people just listen to famous people or to their family and friends to please them. If teenagers like 18 or 19 years old are allowed to vote and they do vote, then mostly they just listen to their friends or their parents or their grandparents to please them. They want to please their parents to make them feel happy that their children are having the same opinions and the same feelings as them. Children usually want to please their parents, and teenagers will want to please their parents even more badly because they want to let their parents know that they're capable of living outside the house, but you don't really need them anymore. So when people just vote for somebody's opinion, especially a famous person, then it doesn't mean much because they aren't voting there for their own opinions. And when people just vote like that, voting is kind of useless because we don't really like voting. The government doesn't like it when people vote for someone who is famous or vote for their family and their friends, but the government doesn't have any proof of that. And when the government doesn't have any proof of something like that, and then you know the voters are settled to some person, it doesn't mean that that person is worthy anymore. It doesn't mean that voting even has a point because the government won't know who is worthy because people just keep listening to someone's opinion. They vote for someone's opinion, they don't vote for themselves anymore. So in conclusion, I strongly believe that we shouldn't vote because voting takes a lot of time and the governments are fair. They always make the decision that they think is best and they think is right. So we should trust the government. And also, voting is almost pointless because people just vote for their friends or for a famous person's opinion. And it proves that voting is useless. So that is all my opinion about why people shouldn't vote, and thank you for listening.